Hello, my name is Lydia Sapronova, and I'll be showing you how to sew beads into this owl brooch made of crystals, pearls and sequins. I found the picture of the owl online and copied it by tracing it from the screen. We cut out the drawing. Next, we make holes through the tracing paper with a sharpened pencil, leaving dots on the base material. We then join up the dots to draw the owl. To fix the thread in place on the reverse side. We sew the crystal onto the wing using 2 or 3 stitches. Now we sew the sequins around the crystal. We move the needle 2 mm from the crystal. Take one sequin and sew it next to the crystal. The second sequin sits on the first, the third sits on the second, and so on. We sew sequins all around the crystal. Next we sew the 3 mm pearls around the crystal. To do this, we sew one pearl, placing the needle before the pearl and then passing through it. We then take 6 pearls and attach them like this. We position the needle in front of the last pearl and pass through it. And then take another 6 pearls. We position the needle in front of the last pearl and pass through it. Now we sew each one like this. We pass the needle through 2 pearls. We position the needle in front of the second pearl of our pair and pass through 2 pearls. We sew the pearls like this all the way around. Now for the eyes. We sew a 4 mm pearl using 3 stitches. After that, we sew 2 rows of golden beads around the pearl. When the eyes are done, embroider the contour around the eyes and head in the same way. We take 2 beads, so position the needle before the second bead and pass through it. The contour is done, and now we move on to the eyebrows. We position the needle in the corner next to the beads. Take 1 sequin and sew it 1 mm from the beads. The second sequin will sit on the first, the third on the second, and so on. Now we fill in the empty space with size 15 beads. And then we sew sequins onto the head. Alternating between golden and silver sequins. The first row of sequins sits on the beads, with each subsequent row sitting on the previous row of sequins. Next we embroider the wing and body of the owl with size 15 silver beads. For the nose we sew a 4 mm bead using 3 stitches. Next we fill the empty space in the wing with size 15 beads. Now we fill in the body of the owl. We sew 1 row of sequins, and here we also alternate between 1 golden sequin and 1 silver. For the second row we take 3 beads and sew close to the sequins. In the third row we sew sequins like the first row, and so on. The embroidery part is now complete. We cut off the excess felt, being careful not to cut the threads used in the embroidering. Then we glue paper to the reverse side. We then cut an awl out of the leather. We mark where the base will be for the brooch. We make a cut for the pin. We glue the pin in place. We then add glue to the reverse side and glue it to the leather. Leave it to dry. Now we position the needle in the leather. The knot ends up between the felt and the leather. We pass through the two layers, leaving a small loop. And pass the needle through it, so we end up with a knot. We take two light pink beads, though you can choose any color of size 15 bead. We pass the needle in front of the contour line of beads. We pass the needle through the second bead and add the next bead. We do this all the way around. Once we have completed this seam, we pass the needle through the first bead and through the two layers, and again pass the needle through the first bead. We hide the thread in the embroidery. We do this by passing the needle through the beads on the contour seam through 4 beads. We make a knot, pull the thread tight and hide the knot in the beads. We do this twice. Cut the thread, the brooch is ready. Thank you for watching, until next masterclass.